Police in Michigan saying at least one person is dead and 9 others are injured in a shooting at an LDS church. Investigators say the gunman ran his vehicle through the front door of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, started firing, and deliberately set the packed church in Grand Blanc Township on fire. Police say the gunman was killed in a shootout with officers. Now, 2 victims are in critical condition, and police fear more victims could be inside after a partial roof collapse. They say more than 100 people were attending the service. Let's get right to ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin, along with ABC News contributor and former NYPD chief of detectives Robert Boyce for more. Olivia, what's the latest on this investigation?
Well, right now, of course, on scene, you have investigators combing through what is still a very active scene because of that fire and because of what you just indicated. The fact that they believe there could still be more victims inside, because as we heard from police earlier in the afternoon, that fire, they believe, was deliberately set in a way that prevented people from being able to get out of the building. And that's the reason they expect that there are going to be more victims in there. So you'd have to think that that is top of mind right now. Could there be more people in there that they can save, that need medical attention, that they need to get to as soon as possible in order to help them? So still on the ground, very much active, even though officials have been very clear that they're no longer, they believe, is a threat to the public because the suspect has been neutralized in that shootout with officials who responded to the scene. There's also questions about the shooter and the suspect and why this person may have done this. It's not yet clear what the motive was. The suspect has not been identified. It's not clear if they had any ties to the church, if they had any ties to anyone who attended this church. All of that is going to be questions. But of course, as the investigation is going on, officials in this community are mourning loss of life and a tragic event that happened at a place of worship. Ike, take a listen.
This kind of violence doesn't happen in our community, and we are heartbroken that it came to Grand Blanc Township, and we're going to do everything we can to support the families, the victims, and our community getting through this situation. And it's something that no community ever wants to have.
Now, Robert, I want to get to you next. What stands out to you from what we know so far about how this unfolded and how police responded?
Sure. So, like, from what I can see right now, it was a planned and targeted attack. And I'm saying that because he must have had an accelerant in that truck with him. You see how fast that roof burned and how long it burned, trapping people inside. So it looks like he started this out. They know who he is. Clearly, they took something from the plate, ID'd him from a facial, and they're at his house right now. They have to be careful there, too, because that could be booby trapped as well. But we don't know a lot right now about motive. They'll figure out in the coming hours, the coming days and weeks, exactly who this person was and what they were doing. But he's apparently from Burton, which is not far away, and he drove down there this morning. Did this at 10:30. So it's unknown. It's the church attacks, thankfully, are rare. We just had one in August in a school in Minneapolis, but they are somewhat rare, and that's the only good news you can derive from this right now is that we try to figure out what they are, and every couple of years they happen. So it's a lot to be figured out right now, but again, the protocol worked. The officers immediately engaged and neutralized the subject, and that saved lives too.
And Olivia, what are we hearing from President Trump right now?
Well, of course, the president weighing in, saying to pray for the victims, saying that his administration and he personally is following the situation and will keep going with updates on it. He's also saying something pretty critical at the end here. I want to read it. He says, "This epidemic of violence in our country must end immediately." And that is so key, Ike, because we have been talking, everyone's aware of how many violent incidents there have been in this country in the past days, weeks, months alone. And, I've been speaking to experts, former law enforcement, about just how we can tamp down this violent atmosphere going on in this country. And something that they always reiterate is the tone that is set from leaders in this country, that it has to come from them, urging people to bring down the temperature, to end the violence. So that's really important in that statement there, and something that experts, law enforcement alike, are going to be happy to see, because that is the type of information, type of messaging that they are really wanting people to hear right now. So hopefully we can be on the path to trying to end some of this.
And Robert, what are you watching as this investigation moves forward?
I see a very multi-agency response going forward. So there's going to be a lot of help in figuring these things out. Now they're going to drill down on who this person was, this 40-year-old male. And you see what's going on in his life to make him to do this. Was he a member of the congregation? We don't know. Why did he select this church? Because there's another church right nearby, Jehovah's Witness. Why did he select this one? It doesn't make any sense. And that going forward is Sunday morning. I mean, it is sacred to most people in their houses of worship. It's really troubling when you see this tough 24 hours. We had something in North Carolina last night too. So when you see this violence really accelerate and across the country, it's really scary.
And Olivia, how is the church responding to this shooting?
The church in a statement is saying that this was tragic. Of course, we have heard the words tragic, heartbreaking, preventable throughout so many of these tragedies. The church also saying that they are working with law enforcement right now, which is to be expected, but especially, Ike, on updates to conditions of those victims. Of course, people hoping that all 9 of those injured are able to make it out, and I'm sure the church hoping that as well, but keeping in touch with law enforcement and keeping updated on how some of those attendees are doing.
All right, Olivia Rubin, Robert Boyce, thank you for that analysis.